Hey y'all, hey, we back, okay? 3 parts, okay? Because it's so good we had to do it thrice, okay?
Yeah.
Look, I still have Detective, okay? Courtney Spikes, I call her Coco. They call her Coco too. Look,
Yeah.
Coco, I would be remiss to have you on the podcast doing those 2 incredible episodes and not talk about you being the narcotics officer of the year in 2022.
Yeah.
That was just around the corner, okay?
Yeah, it was.
Look,
But
give us everything you got on that because leading up to that, how you feel now, everything in between. How did it all happen? How did it come to this?
so, when you come from a Christian family, so it probably prophecy has probably always been a thing for you, but I feel like it's so many people out here faking it, TikTok psychics and, false prophets reading you to get money and or to feel important. Some people just do it oddly to feel important, but 2022, like, don't get me wrong, anybody that has ever been in my life that I called a friend or I called a family member, I love them, and a lot of them being in my life has made is part of who I am and who I am today, and I love that for everybody. And it's not a false statement to say that you outgrow people, or in my case, I am a Mrs. Fix It. If you say, you have those friends that you want
Yes.
you want to show up for everything, you want to be there for them every part of their life. And I don't know, I think back then it was kind of an acceptance thing for me. Like, if I'm this spectacular friend, they're going to be a
Right.
spectacular friend to me, and then they're
Mhm.
going to accept me. But what I had to realize, going to therapy and losing some people, was that you don't have to do all those things for people to love you, just
Yeah.
like you are bare naked love you. So in 2022, I was taking a phlebotomy class to
Mhm.
draw blood for my job, skip all of the hospital stuff that you have to go sit and do. I'm here, I can do this, so let me do it. And I had a lady read me, and like I said, I'm so skeptical
Because
of it.
would you call it a reading? Okay. Would you call it a reading or would you call it a prophetic encounter? A reading to me is more so,
Psychic.
yeah. Or
Okay.
did you feel like this lady was a woman of God
I do.
that
I
had a
really do.
word for you?
I felt it each day that she looked at me. I knew it was something with her because she came in that classroom multiple times, and it was just the
Was
way
she
that it
part of
was.
the class or what? What
She
was the
was she was a teacher, but not in
okay?
that class.
Okay.
That's what made it weird. She didn't know my name. She didn't know anything about me, and that's what made me a believer, because she didn't know me to even come to me and or to be able to ask somebody about anything going on in my life at the time. So it was real, and she did it. She made me a believer. I was not before. I'm not ashamed to say that. I love God. I believe in God. But with all of the false prophets and the people faking these days, it is harder to believe. But yes, she caught me somewhere, and she told me that God had all these things for me. But that I was so focused on putting in and pouring into everybody else, showing up for other people, I never noticed that people didn't show up for me how I showed up for them. And I was too busy doing these things for them instead of pouring it into myself. And that's what I needed to do. And she told me that certain people weren't going to be a part of my life moving forward, and that God had to put me in a space and surround me by different people before he gave me what it is that he had to give me, because if I would have stayed where I was going to mess it up. She told me that in 2022. 2022, I won Louisiana Narcotics Officers Association Agent of the Year. 2023, I was promoted to sergeant and field supervisor of my narcotics task force. 2024, I went to SWAT school and was the only female in my entire class. 2025, I now work for Homeland Security Investigations, which puts me as a federal officer. And one thing about, working for the Fed, you have to have a security clearance. I was supposed to go on a trip in 2022 to Mexico. Mexico was travel banned by federal. So I would not have passed my security clearance had I went on that trip with the same people that I love them and we talk and everything, but it's not like they're not a part of my immediate circle, my praying circle. And growing up, one thing, and your mama told me this, that you got to be careful who you let put your mouth on, who puts their mouth on you, praying for you.
That's true.
I
Thank
feel
you.
like the people that I have around me right now is they actually is genuine. They pray for me. They motivate me. They actually want to see me win the same way that I want to see them win. I don't feel like I have to be anybody else other than authentic me, alone by myself, and they accept and love everything about that. They cheer for me when it's not they don't want to just partake in the turn up. They here when I win an award. They're here when my kids graduate. They're here if my child's getting baptized, like for everything.
Yeah.
And I know that it's genuine. I know that they're not showing up, you know, oh, out of, okay, I'm obligated to show up because this is my friend. And in the past, that's kind of how I felt. I felt like it was certain things that you show up for, the fun stuff.
Yeah.
But when
Yeah.
it came to something that was about me and it was career or, something important, it was kind of a dang, they're not here. But in therapy, I learned that we disappoint ourselves expecting others to be the same person as us. Maybe that's not how they show up for you, and you have to accept that their showing up for you is a different type of showing up for you. And I don't know, I've accepted that, but I'm just I'm happy and at peace with the people that I have around me, and
Mhm.
all the lessons and everything that I lost, and it took me to get here, and I'm happy with that. I'm happy with how things are going. I'm not done yet.
Yes.
um Maybe I'm getting to that part where I want to do the more social part of it than arresting people. But yeah, I'm not done yet, and I finding something else to do in 2026.
Okay, okay. I love that. I love how the progression of it. Now, when the woman first told you, did you immediately receive it or did you have to let everything sink in?
I had to let it sink in. I think a lot of what actually made me just like think real hard about it is because she was describing people.
Mm.
Like she didn't tell me any names or anything like that, but she was describing people and she was describing situations that you shouldn't know if you don't know me. Like you shouldn't know any of these things and it did it. I think it more made me nervous than anything. Like I felt it when she was holding my hands, like, okay, this is what people talk about when they say somebody is prophesying over their life. This is not this lady done went and researched, me on Facebook or something and came. I just don't feel like she will waste her time doing that. But I'm telling you, girl, everything that lady told me has come to pass.
Now,
Everything.
now after all this, Narcotics Officer of the Year, okay? Put some respect on her name, okay? 2022. Now, have you seen this lady since then?
No, I haven't. And I wish I would run into her. This like all of this happened. I was in Sulphur, Louisiana. And I honestly, I wish I could run into her so that I could tell her, girl, let me tell you, let me tell you about life since I
Yes,
ran into you. Yeah,
yes.
because she's one of the real ones. She's one of the real ones.
And that is such a blessing to be able to come in contact with God in that proportion because she ain't even in the same city you in.
Nope. And would
So,
have never ran into me had it not been for that class. So I believe even that. Even he put me in that class for that reason. Like he needed me to hear that. He needed me to receive that message. And like I said, everybody who has been a part of my life has made me who I am. I love each and every one of them for, being in one chapter or another. And I'm glad that as grown-ups, when you're not around someone, it's still, you know, no beef, or I'm not mad at you, or it doesn't have to be like that. It's just like I'm different than what I was, and I'm a lot different out of it. Like i think I think back then, for one, I wasn't as confident, and I felt like I needed to go overboard for the people around me to be accepted. And
mhm,
now I absolutely don't feel that way. I don't feel that way. I feel like you're going to show up for me and I'm going to show up for you. And I'm not one of those people who say, I feed off energy. I'm going to feed off no, I'm not going to be a bad friend or a bad cousin or a bad aunt or anything because you are. We're
mhm.
gonna both show up for each other how we show up for each other, or we're not gonna be around each other because that's just not me. I don't know how to not be a good friend and the friend that shows up and wants to support you no matter what it is. So I think a lot of me, it was disappointment for me when they weren't disappointing me. It's just that they didn't show up for me how I wanted them to. And you can't want that for other people. You have to let them show up for you in their own way. Because I've never had, they've never been bad friends. I've never had any just, well, I'm not going to say that. I have had bad friends before. But during that time, it wasn't anything like they were bad friends or anything like that. It was me. I wasn't cool with who I was then, and I wasn't going to put the work in to be the person that I am today if I'm too busy pouring into other people. Like I was I wasn't thinking about myself as much as I should have because I was too busy trying to show up for everybody else. So now I make it a point to put me first because if nothing else, I want to be a good mom. And I know that I have to be whole to be a good mom to my kids and God kids.
Yeah, you are doing it. Thank you so much, Courtney. Oh, so good, so good. You are invited to the show at any time, whenever you want to talk, chat, got something on your mind. Hey, make sure that you hit me up.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
This has been great. So remember, Pathfinders, that sharing our experiences is not only empowering, it can help light the path. We did it again.
Yeah.